Blessings and peace, and welcome to the Ice Turner experience. It's something you can't define, but you can only experience with me. As of lately, I've actually been a little bit more acclimated into presenting you with content, exercising a little bit more even in the live streams. Normally you expect me to make drops or expect to hear from me just making the drops, and being creative on my own is easy. It's pretty much like breathing, as well as creating with other like-minded individuals. That's why I believe it's important to work with the people that your spirit receives, and to stay away from and ignore those that your spirit rejects. It's really that simple. Life is easy. I believe your vibrations tell you everything. You got to protect your energy, as they say, because your energy is attached to your spirit, being and mind, and that's why it's important to be spirit-led. But in order to be spirit-led, you have to be spirit-filled. You have to do the things that are necessary to keep yourself filled and overflowing. That is basically the God frequency. 144 megahertz in sound, the God body flow. The other day I was actually chopping up my boy Huey. He had did a live chop up about things being in plain sight, and we were just breaking down the game just from the mind's eye standpoint, and it was dope. It was just off the cuff. That was probably one of the best ciphers I've been in since I was doing the build back when I was younger. Saying like when I was might have been about 20. So that's a long time. It's amazing when you're operating on that high, because you can continue to elevate not only yourself but the people that you're in the round table, the cipher with, the 360, because that's how you build your pyramid. And you build your pyramid through sharpening each other's iron, through utilizing your own utilities, mental utilities and mental faculties and skill sets. You have to see yourself as a temple of God. And a temple of God is a pyramid. And a man building and establishing, that law within himself is the perfect example of that orientation. I know you've heard of that universal saying, as below, so is above, as within, so is without. Well, it's just like a man that is, in a place of manifestation, and creating anything that his heart desires, and he's only limited by his own ignorance and by his own laws, customs, and culture. See, a man is always built to remain on his square just as he was born onto that square. And how do you know if you're on that square? You have to meditate on that black dot. And when you meditate on that black dot, is to unfold that cube of understanding, which is manifestation, or your fruits, along on that central axis, our square, which is based in a constant reminder that our home of wisdom, self-awareness, is firmly founded on the connection to nature and the immutable laws. See, the angles of that square are still vertically, and the three squares are profoundly across horizontally in our level of intelligence and truth. This is what I call the cross. This is what the the mythology behind, Yeshua and the cross, the Christos and the cube of understanding, bringing death to your fleshly understanding, to inherit your spiritual giftings and blessings. So you have to look at it like this. A man is a fourfold unit concerning the elements of his own constitution. You look at earth, which is utility, fire, inspiration, water, intuition, air, acumen. And one of the fundamental keys to the mystery of our great pyramid, the apex of our understanding, is our all-seeing eye, or our Christos pineal gland, our psychic self, or our eastern star. Now, our temple is the physical construct of the universe, believe it or not. As I said before, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's like going from atom to atoms. Originally we were atom, then we went to atom. Now we have to go back to atoms. Now what is atoms? Look at 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 6 electrons. So what that means, that we're carbon-based melanin beings in a happening state of the eternal now. And that carbon, under pressure, it produces a diamond. Look at what, the world has produced on the strength of our backs. Are you starting to get it now? We've been used as utility or materials and having gained from it. But the mind's eye is still blind to that. See, the mind's eye is really just the capstone of man. And the spirit is the capstone of the mind. And God is the epitome of the whole, or the capstone of his divine spirit. See, to know thy God is to understand thyself. It's the connection. See, our temple isn't complete until we ourselves become the living apex through that divine power and understanding. The majority of us are unconsciously aware to that eye that is closed, which is denying that power within because the responsibility that comes with it. 85% of our culture is dumb, deaf, and blind. Then we have a small percentile that's the gatekeepers. Then we have the righteous teachers. See, it's then when we decide to open our eye or our conscious state to basically be connected to our subconscious. Now that is to be fully aware of what is actually taking place. Remember, I told you the story about Yahshua on the boat, or Yahshua walking on water, and Peter screaming out, and wanting to come to Yahshua. He wants to come to the truth of himself. He wants to come to the Christos of himself. But the fear and his, fragile emotions of his state of consciousness drowned him, right? See, the subconscious absorbs everything. Although it might not be able to articulate everything, but it internalizes everything. And a lot of cases, our fear becomes our God instead of our servant. Yeah. See, this is the exact science of psychological regeneration. Once we overstep our subconscious and walk on the water of it. This is the reason why we need more thinkers to navigate the 7 C's, especially in the vortex math of the Enneagram, as the generating light force, or our 7th chakra, guided by the North Star, with a compass and a square that's at 32 points. You look at 3 times 2 equals 5. 5%er. See, life is like drawing a circle and the 2 legs that represents the idea of man's power in congruence with female at an angle which is measured in different planes through the transactional analysis. Now, within that pyramid or temple, the 10 sephira is within us, or the 10 spheres of light, or that tree of life that is in us. And what is that tree of life? Well, you look at the branches of knowledge of self. It continues to branch off. You continue to learn more about yourself. You look at the roots. The roots is awareness. See, the more aware you are of yourself, the more aware you are of your surroundings, the more aware you are in your present now or your eternal now. Because you'll always live in right now. When you wake up tomorrow, it'll just be right now. Then, with that, when you're able to navigate that, when you have knowledge of self, you have awareness of self, you're able to manifest the understanding, the fruit that you bear. A man is known by the fruit that he bears. See, this is leadership in action. This is manhood in command. This is how you facilitate things, and this is how you execute. It's the difference between having a plan and being able to execute. There's a difference between wanting to look like you got it versus actually having it. And what is that? Well, hopefully you'll figure it out. Until then, blessings and peace.